Welcome to Freestyle Scooter Lessons. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about the ramps and obstacles that you could encounter at the skate park. Every skate park is different. Each one has a unique set of lines, obstacles, ramps, and more. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the different types of ramps, rails, obstacles, and things that you would see at a skate park, so that when you do see them, you know what they are called and how to approach them. When someone says they have a trick dialed or on lock, it means they can do that trick very well every go. Dialed can also be used to describe a scooter that feels perfect and does not rattle. A transfer or a gap is when you jump from one ramp into another. Leveling out is when you are in the air and you level yourself out so you are flat and centered over the scooter. You can do this by bending or straightening your knees and moving your arms forward or backward depending which way you need to level out. Casing and obstacles when you land with your back wheel on top of the obstacle. Essentially, it's when you don't land perfectly down the ramp and on top of the obstacle, whether that's a rail, a ledge, a down ramp, or whatever you're riding. Backside is when you spin towards your back foot. For example, left foot forward, you spin to your right, and right foot forward, you spin to your left. When riding rails or ledges, backside is when your feet are facing away from the obstacle. For example, left foot forward, obstacle on the left, right foot forward, obstacle on the right. Frontside is when you spin towards your front foot. For example, left foot forward, spin to your left, and right foot forward, spin to your right. When riding rails or ledges, frontside is when your feet are facing the obstacle. For example, left foot forward, obstacle on the right foot forward, obstacle on the left. Downside is when you are turning into the trick. Another way to think of it is if you do the trick into the ramp. For example, a downside whip technically does less of a rotation compared to a straight whip, as you turn into it and you catch it early. This can go both ways, as you can see with this downside heel whip. So what trick you do and which way you spin will decide whether the trick is topside or downside. Topside is when you do a trick towards the top of the ramp. For example, a topside can air would be an opposite air and kicking your front foot towards the top of the ramp. Landing a trick clean is when you land a trick smoothly, making it look really good and how it's meant to look. Doing something sketchy is when you only just land the trick, or it's rough and it doesn't look how it should. For example, you might drag your feet on the ground, clip the coping as you land, or become off balance in the trick. Mellow is referred to a ramp that is not very steep. Vert is short for vertical and referred to a ramp that is very steep and goes vertical at the top. Coping is the metal on top of a quarter pipe and is used to slide along for grinds. They come in all sizes and can affect how you ride the ramp. Pool coping is on pool bowls and isn't metal, but if waxed, can still be grinded. A quarter pipe is the most common ramp at a skate park. It is a quarter of a full pipe and will almost always have coping. Resi is foam on top of a ramp with a resi sheet covering it. It is used to practice new tricks and is much softer than wood or concrete. You will often see resi boxes, spines, and quarter pipes. A foam pit is a pit filled with foam. These are used to try new tricks riders are working on without fear of serious injury, although you can still get hurt in a foam pit, so be careful. Airbags are a new version of foam pits. They come as a flat bag or a down ramp. The flat bag is used like a foam pit and the down ramp is used more like a resi. Boxes are one of the most used ramps at a skate park. Coming in all different sizes, they have an up ramp, a flat top, and a lander ramp. A half pipe is two quarter pipes facing each other, so you can go back and forward without stopping. A step up is much like a box but with a hump on it. You need to go faster and higher to make it up and over the hump. Fun boxes are smaller boxes coming in all shapes and sizes. Just like you would imagine, a pyramid is the shape of a pyramid, generally banks on all sides, and they come in a variety of sizes. A quarter to bank is a quarter with a bank next to it. It's a great way to practice air tricks, and it's much easier to land down a bank than a quarter pipe. A capsule is part of a bowl with a curve that's higher than the rest of the bowl. Hips are very common at the skate park. They come in all different types, like a quarter to quarter, a bank to bank, or also a quarter to bank hip, each varying in the skill it takes to use them. Spines are very common to see at a skate park. It is two quarter pipes back to back with only coping in the middle. Street or fat spines are similar to a regular spine. However, they have a gap on top. They also do not always have coping, and the gap can vary in sizes. A bowl is a lot of quarter pipes all put together to make a bowl shape, although they vary in size and shape, and they can also have other obstacles inside them. A euro is a bank with a gap at the top. You need to clear the gap to reach the flat ground above it. A W ramp is a quarter on either side of a spine. When you look at this ramp from the side, you will see it makes the shape of a W. Vert ramps are very steep, big ramps, generally 10 foot plus high, and go vertical towards a coping. This is a more advanced ramp and you should approach with caution. A wall ride is a wall located close to a ramp. Riders will use this to jump out of the ramp and then onto it and then back into the ramp. Roll-ins are at lots of skate parks and they have a curved top into a quarter. They can be a little bit scary if you cannot see over the hump, but they are easy to ride down, so don't be scared. Just like you would imagine, a volcano is the shape of a volcano. They come in all sizes and some are easier to ride than others. Snake runs are really fun. They are a downhill with ramps on either side so you can carve up and down all the way till you get to the bottom, often leading into a bowl. A channel gap is a gap between two quarters. This could go all the way through so the ramps are separate, or they could be connected at the top. Similar to a vert, vert walls are a smaller ramp but with a large vert part at the top of the ramp. The size of the vert wall will depend on the skate park. They are a great transition to learn to ride. Full pipe is essentially 4 quarter pipes put together to make one big circle. Down rails are rails going down on an angle. They can have a flat top or a curved top, and they can vary in steepness. Generally, they are attached to banks or stairs. Similar to a down rail, however, kink rails go down, then flat, then down again. They are all different sizes and the amount of kinks can vary. Stairs. This one is pretty self-explanatory. A ledge is a rectangle block with metal or coping on the corners to make it easier to grind. They are located all over the skate parks on flat ground and also on banks. A sub-box or an extension is essentially a tall ledge located right next to a quarter pipe. A flat rail is a straight rail on flat ground. It can be flat on top or it could be round. Rainbow rails go up and down just like a rainbow. Manual pads are larger, short, ledge-type obstacles that riders use to practice manuals and technical tricks on. Thank you for watching our tutorial on ramps and obstacles at the skate park. We hope you learn a lot from this and can use it in your riding. If you have any questions, post them in our online community for help. Enjoy your riding and we'll see you out there.